What's going on, everyone? I'm here with the latest bike from Roll Road. This one's called the Emma 3.0. A lot of good features on this one. 1500 watt rear hub motor, dual 52 volt battery packs, easy step through design, good lighting package, full suspension. It's 2-passenger ready, and you get a free trunk if you pre-order. Let's check it out. All right, folks, we're checking out the Emma 3.0 from Roll Road. It's a 20-inch wheel bike, moped style. Some pretty good features on it. Came with this free trunk. I think this is just part of the pre-order promotion. If you pre-order, you get the free trunk. And right now, pre-order price, I believe, is $19.99, which seems pretty good given the features of this bike and what you get. So let me show you what you get. Up front, you got 20 by 4-inch tires. They're CST Scouts, and they are on a through axle, not a quick release front wheel, through axle there. And then you've also got hydraulic brakes. These are Zoom brand, I believe, and they're 4-piston calipers. So 180 millimeter disc, 4-piston caliper. It's not branded on here, but I did ask and they said it's a Zoom brand. And they had some pretty good stopping power. You need that because this is a heavier bike and it also goes pretty darn fast. So it's good you got brakes that can handle that. You have a dual crown or double shoulder, whatever you want to call it, suspension fork. So there's the piece right here and right here. It just kind of gives it a taller look. It's a Trauma fork. That's the name brand of it, Trauma. And it does have the adjustment knobs here on the top for preload and also compression. No problem with the fork. It worked just fine. No issue. Seemed to do quite well. It comes with rack and fenders included. See, they're plastic fenders, both front and back. And then the rear rack is tucked up under here, under the trunk, attaches right there. We'll get into more of that a little bit later because I want to show you some more detail on the rear trunk. But you get rack and fenders included. And if you pre-order now, you get the trunk. Up here at the front, they did a pretty good job with the wiring. This is pretty nice. They got it wrapped up real nice, best they can. There's e-bikes just have a lot of wires, especially something like this too, when you have separate turn signals, each with their separate wire. Full lighting package on this one. Headlight, tail light, brake light, turn signals, both front and back. Let me turn them on for you real quick. All right, there you go. There's your headlight. Nice and bright. I did some nighttime riding. You'll see that in the ride footage. There's your turn signal, kind of like a sequential blinker. Pretty cool. And then on the back, it's just a flasher here on the back. You see, it's got tail light. Very bright under there. You got to be a little bit further back to see it underneath the top case. But you got blinkers front and back. That is something that most bikes do not have. Good lighting package. BMX style handlebar. Nice and wide, 28 inches wide. Felt good. I think they look good on the bike. Good choice there. For the controls up here, you've got rubber grips, a twist throttle. You got your brakes here. You can see there's no shifter because it's a 1-speed bike. And then here's your control panel. Headlight button, power button, information button, up and down for pedal assist, and then this is for horn turn signals. And then the screen, I'm going to show you something cool that you probably have not ever seen before on an e-bike. Are you ready? Comes with an NFC card. And we can unlock the bike just like that. Pretty cool. Turn it off and on with the touch of the card. You ever seen that? Pretty fancy. Or you can just come over here and push the button and do the same thing. But yeah, pretty flashy. NFC, Near Field Communication Smart Key. So I'm guessing there's probably a way where you can go in and set like a screen lock. So you can't just push the button and then you got to use the card to turn everything off and on. Let's see. It comes with 2 of these little cards. But yeah, pretty fancy. I like the screen too. Good looking display screen. It's color. It's very bright. Gives you all the information you need. Speed real big. And then this right here shows you all kinds of stuff. You can look at watts or amps or battery voltage or ride time or odometer. There's a million different things you can view. It's a very good display. I like this one a lot. Now, I'm not going to go into all the programming on this bike. Just know there's a manual online where you can look up how to change things. Really, there's only one setting I changed. I went in and I changed the speed limit setting just to max everything out because the bike comes to you shipped as a Class 2 20-mile-an-hour e-bike. So you got to go in there and bump up the speed limit if you want to go faster than that. And yes, it does go a lot faster than 20 miles an hour if you change that. Now let's talk about batteries because this bike has a lot of battery capacity. Here's your first one right here in the frame. It's semi-integrated into the frame. You put the key in on the other side and it kind of slides out to the side. It's a 52 volt, 20 amp hour battery pack. That right there is probably larger than average. This bike has another one, has a second one right here in the rear rack underneath the, or I guess it's kind of like in the frame under the seat. Same thing, 52 volt, 20 amp hours. So a total of 2,080 watt hours. That is more than double your average e-bike. And they use good cells, 21700 cells. It says it right here on the battery. So it says 52 volt there, 20 amp hour, 21700. 1.4 S4P 500 mAh. So maybe the battery nerds out there will know exactly what that means, but they tell me it is from EVE Energy, I think it was, which is the battery supplier to BMW. So I gotta believe that that's probably a decent quality battery cell in there. And you're probably wondering what kind of range you get out of this. I did do a range test in it. You'll see it in the ride footage, and I rode throttle only pretty much all out on this for over 60 miles. They state on the website up to 150 miles. Do I believe that? I think it's possible. Range is a tough thing. Everybody's gonna get different range, but me riding this thing with no pedaling, throttle only, 60 miles, easy. So you get a lot of range out of it. There is a couple drawbacks here. It adds to the weight. It makes it a pretty heavy bike. This is 116 pounds. Kind of a heavier bike. Payload capacity though is nice and strong too. 450 pounds I think it can carry. So I definitely don't think this is one you're gonna be putting in and out of the bed of your truck or carrying on a bike rack or trying to go up a flight of stairs with it. This is probably one you're gonna just have parked in your garage. It's gonna be your around the town errand running bike. It is super easy to get off and on this thing though. I mean, the step through goes nice and low. To right here, it's like 18 inches. So it's a pretty low step through, easy to mount this thing. The seat height, 33.5 inches from ground to top of seat, 33.5. I did have my wife try it because she's shorter than me. I'm 6 feet tall. No issues for me on this. She's 5'4". She was able to get on this. It was manageable. She could just get her toes down. So it was rideable for her, but just know if you're around, close to that 5 foot mark, you're probably gonna be tippy-toeing this bike. Now there is one other thing I forgot to mention about the battery packs, and that is they only supply you with one battery charger. Now the charger they gave me was a 3 amp charger, which is pretty decent. When you got this much battery capacity though, if you deplete both those batteries, and you gotta use one 3 amp charger to get them charged back up, it's gonna take quite a while. Now in the box down here by the bottom bracket, that's where your controller and your battery balancer are hiding in there. You just take off the little cover plate on the other side. You can get in there. I took a picture of it so you can see what it looks like. It's kind of chock full of stuff inside there. The controller's 28 amp controller, and the battery balancer is in there. You got to have that when you have dual batteries because you want the batteries to drain equally as you ride. Or if you do what I accidentally did, I forgot to turn the rear battery on. So I drained a bunch of juice out of this battery, and then I was like, oh, I forgot to turn the rear one on. Flip the switch to turn the rear one on. You want the bike to be able to balance out those voltages because at that point the batteries would be different voltage. So got to have the balancer to equal everything out. For the gearing up front, it is a 52 tooth chainring, and on the back, although you've got this derailleur hanging down right here, there's only one gear. It's a single speed, and that is a 16 tooth cog on there. And they tell me the derailleur is here just to function as like a chain tensioner, just so you've got better feeling in the pedals. But I kind of feel like you've already got this here. Might as well just run the cable up the frame and put some gears on it, right? Give it a couple speeds. But if you wanted to try and pedal this, once you hit about 25 miles an hour, you're just pedaling so fast. Your legs are spinning so fast, you run out of pedal right around 24, 25 miles an hour. And if you're on a super steep off-road hill, it doesn't feel like it goes quite low enough. I'd love it if they could put a couple gears on here, just to have a few to select from. Now, hiding here in the back wheel is your 1500 watt Bafang Pseudo motor. Now there's other bikes on the market that've got a 1500 watt motor, but they output a lot more power. They'll use like a 40 amp controller and they give you big power. Road didn't do it that way. They wanted to go for longevity of the components. Their rear motor is rated for 1500 watts, and that is the max output of the bike. 52 volt batteries, 28 amp controller. I've seen the screen go up to close to 1600 watts. So it's rated for 1500, and that's the most power they put through it is 1500 watts. You're not overworking this motor. It's designed to hold up for a long time. So what does that feel like? Well, it's not throw you back in your seat, crazy fast acceleration. It just feels like a strong e-bike. Feels like it's good strong power. This thing goes pretty fast. I've seen it hit about 37 miles per hour. But let's keep going. We got a lot to cover on this bike. Let's talk about the seat. This is the 24-inch long seat, the 2-passenger seat. Here was the original one that was on there. It is an 18-inch long seat. Honestly, this one felt a little bit softer than the long seat. I don't know if there's different foam in there or not. This one did feel a little bit softer, but the 2-passenger seat is pretty cool. I did ride this with my wife to test it out and see what it felt like. We had plenty of room for us to sit. Neither one of us is very big, so depending on how big you are, that'll be how difficult it is to fit on there. But we had no trouble fitting at all. You can see she's got rear passenger pegs right here that she could put her feet on, and they're plenty far away from the pedal. So I could actually even pedal with her, her feet on here. We weren't even close to hitting, so you could still pedal with a passenger on there. And I gotta tell you, I was actually pretty surprised at how well it did with 2 passengers. I was thinking that it was going to be very awkward and like wobbly and just maybe be harder to drive. It wasn't at all. A little shocked by that. I found it really easy to ride with a passenger. I think it's usable as a 2-person bike. It seemed to drive really easy. The power, I mean, we stayed mostly on the flat ground. If we were trying to climb some serious hills, it probably would have struggled. Flat level ground, the power was there. Yeah, this could be a 2-person run around the neighborhood style bike. You could do it, especially if it was a kid. If you're carrying a kid on the back, it would be even easier. Especially with these double rear shocks. These are both air shocks in the back. There's a air valve here underneath there where you can adjust the air pressure. They're pretty soft with me on there just by myself. You get good suspension out of it. Add the extra person on the back. I mean, it was a good ride. But if you need it a little firmer, not hard to just dial up the air pressure in those and change the ride quality. But let me spin this bike around and I'll show you the trunk. Here is the locking trunk they're giving right now with pre-orders. And I think it's pretty cool. I mean, I like it. I think it's really handy. I can see how some people might not want this on the back of the bike, but I mean, it's very convenient for putting your helmets in there or a bag of groceries or whatever you got to haul. It's pretty cool on the inside too. They got like this leather liner in it. So it looks pretty nice. And it's pretty big. I mean, here, give you some perspective. You can fit quite a bit in there. You could easily fit 2 helmets plus more in this trunk. I don't know the exact liters of it, but it's a nice little trunk. And I will say this, it looks way more robust than it actually is. This entire thing is plastic. So, I mean, it's got all these cool like rivets and handles and stuff on here, but it's all plastic. I mean, I wouldn't put anything super valuable in there and expect it to stay safe from thieves. They could smash this open pretty darn easily, but it does lock. It looks the part. It looks very secure. I think it would be a deterrent. I don't think people would really come up and tamper with it a whole lot, depending on where you live, but it's a cool little accessory. Mounts right onto the rear rack. There's just one bolt. Actually, I should show you inside. So inside here, I left this one. I didn't stick it in so I could do this, so I could take it out. Right there. This is the bolt that holds the case onto the rack. And there's some tabs right here. Plastic tabs that like slide securely right here. So you slide it in and then you bolt it down with that one bolt. So it's not like a quick release trunk. You do have to take one bolt out to remove it. But you can take this thing off of here in less than 60 seconds. Let's get our liner back in there. I like the liner. It looks cool with the liner in there. And you do get a separate set of keys for the trunk. So for this bike, you get keys to the trunk, keys to the rear battery, keys to the front battery, and NFC cards. You get all of these. It comes with a ton of keys. It would be really cool if they did like a 1-key system where you could just have one key that unlocked both batteries and the trunk, but not the easiest thing to do. But that's the trunk. Let's take a look at some ride footage now. All right, folks, let's do some riding and testing on the EMA 3.0. This bike is actually pretty comfy. I'm liking the comfort. The bars come up nice and tall. I like the BMX type bars. It's super easy to get off and on with the Step Thru. It's very convenient. The seat's nice long seat. You can get a tall seat, you can get a short seat, you can get a long seat. There's a bunch of seat options. That's nice. But the first thing I want to show you is, I think one of the selling features of this bike, which is the top speed. I'm gonna go out here on this road and try to do a nice long top speed run. It's relatively flat out here, so you'll get a good idea of what this thing's capable of. And I'm just gonna do throttle only. It takes a while to get like up to speed. I mean, we're at 22, 4, 6. It doesn't have like blistering fast acceleration, but once it gets moving, it goes pretty darn good. I mean, we're at 30 miles an hour right now. I'd say I'm going like slightly uphill. So after we cross over the highway here, it's going to be more of a slight downhill. So we're at 30. It's matching pretty close. GPS and the bike screen are pretty close. Still holding 30. All right, now we're going like a little bit of decline. So it's allowing it to climb quicker. 34, 32, 35, 34. We're holding 34 on the GPS, and like 35 on the bike. A little bit of headwind. That's not bad. I mean, level ground, you can hit around that 34, 35 mark. Now, as I ride and do my testing today, I'm going to also try to do a bit of a range test. I don't know if I'll take this thing to dead batteries or not. Probably not. It would take forever. You got over 2,000 watt hours of battery pack, so that's a lot. That would take hours and hours to do a range test on this thing, but we'll see what we get as far as range. I left the house full charge, 100% battery, 58 volt charge, because it's a 52 volt battery. But I mean, the suspension feels nice out here. You got two big springs in the back. You got a trauma double crown fork up front. This is a very cushy ride. No complaints here. All right, here's another speed run. We got a little bit of a downgrade here. Little downhill. Yeah, 35. On the GPS, 37, 38 on the bike, 36. Yeah, I mean, you can get this bike up to 36, depending on, you know, how level the ground is. All right, so as I've been riding and trying to figure out this whole battery thing, it still says 100%, but now I'm down to 54.3 volts. I'm just now realizing I never turned on the second battery pack. That might be part of my problem. I did all my speed tests and everything with one battery. You got to go underneath here and turn on the switch. Okay, now look at that, we're back up to 58.9 volts. So instantly we are completely recharged on the battery. Can't believe I did that. So don't forget to turn your second battery pack on. Let's go try another top speed with both battery packs, see if that made any kind of difference. I imagine it's probably going to be very similar, but we'll give her a go here. All right, up to 25. 26, 7. 30, 33, 35. Pretty similar, 35, 36-ish. So my mistake there actually shows the beauty of this system. You can ride around with one of the battery packs off and still have plenty of power to do everything you need. And use it like a little reserve tank if you want. All right, hill climb test. Here we go. We test all the bikes right here. Your typical 750 bike, 750 watts, will go up in 22 to 25 seconds. I'm guessing this is going to be pretty close to that. It doesn't have amazing torque off the line, so, but we'll see. All right, throttle only. Let's give it a go. 3, 2, 1, and go. Okay, off to a decent start. Climbing 10, 11 miles an hour. Not bad. I mean, I'm not helping it at all. Up to 12, almost to 13. There's 13. It's doing pretty good. No problem. And time. Not bad. Not bad at all. I would say it feels stronger with like top speed, but you know, hill climb is respectable. If you live in a really mountainous, hilly area, you're a heavy rider, you're gonna carry a ton of cargo, yeah, you're gonna have to help this thing up the hills a little bit, but that wasn't bad at all. All right, let's give this thing a little bit tougher of a hill to do. Let's just do the short, steep, grassy hill. I only got one gear, so can't really downshift for it. I'm just gonna hit the gas and pedal as hard as I can, see if we can make it. And we made it, but it bogged down pretty good there. I mean, short, steep off-road hills like that are really not going to be this bike's favorite thing to do. What is this thing like when you let go? Whoa, you really got to keep your balance on this. I wouldn't want to ride no-handed on it. That's, yeah, you really got to keep yourself centered on the bike or else it wants to walk to the left or the right on you. Let's try that again up here. All right, let's try to lower speed here. It's, yeah, this one's really tough to keep. You don't want to ride this one no hands. I don't know if I can ride it no hands. You really got to keep yourself centered on this. This is not a no hand bike. All right, let's see if I can show you a acceleration here. Here we go. 3, 2, 1, go. So there you go. It's a nice gradual acceleration off the line. It's not lightning fast off the line, but it does build up to some good speed, as you saw. Suspension wise, it's pretty good. Check our brakes out. Lock up the brakes, no problem. And as far as like the pedal position, it's not too bad. It's not the worst one I've been on, that's for sure. It's better than a lot of the other moped style bikes. You can pedal, not horribly uncomfortable. And you can get a tall seat or a short seat. Now I mentioned before this bike is a single speed, right? 52 tooth up front, 16 in the back, and you've got feeling in the pedal up until, I mean, once you hit about 25 miles an hour, your legs are spinning like crazy. I don't mind the single speed, honestly. I've had other bikes that were single speed. I think it's fine. I don't really shift the gears enough anyway that I miss having 7 speeds. This one, maybe if you're on like really steep hills, you'd want something lower, but honestly, the current gearing is enough to help it. They have a derailleur on there that they're using as like a chain tensioner. So I think I'd almost rather have the bike without it. Just have the chain and the gears and that's it. No chain tensioner, or a different way. Like if you're gonna do a chain tensioner, just put a chain tensioner on it, not a derailleur. But I don't know, minor complaint. It operates just fine. I don't have any issues with it. Now this bike does have a torque sensor, and I'll say it works pretty good, but here's what you need to know about it. I'm in pedal assist 5 right now, so when I push on the pedals, it should be giving me tons of power on demand, right? I'm gonna rotate the pedals, nothing happens, right? Because it's not a kitten sensor, it's a torque sensor. You gotta push on the pedals. And I will say, it makes you work for it. This torque sensor makes you work for the power. I'm getting 0 watts right now at 6 miles an hour. If I push a little bit, all right, now I'm getting 200, 170, 113. I push a little harder. All right, now I'm getting 300-ish. I push really hard. Okay, now I'm getting 1,000, 1,100, 1,200. Like, you really got to push. I don't know if I can push hard enough to get the 1,500 watt max power. Like, you got to input if you're going to use the torque sensor. It makes you push hard to get the power out of it. Of course, anytime you want though, you can just hit the throttle, boom. Now you're getting 1,528 watts. So it peaks at 1,500 something. I think I've seen it as high as like 1,580 on the peak watts. The display's cool because it'll show you anything you want. You just hit the I key. I got it on watts. You can also see ride time, odometer, trip meter, your maximum speed, average speed, the voltage. I'm at 56.5 volts right now. Amps, it'll show you the controller amps it's outputting, and it also shows you the watts. So you get everything you want on the display. But yeah, the torque sensor, you gotta push hard to get the power out of it. Well, we've been out clicking through some miles, and I finally see the battery indicator go down a little bit, just a little bit. Let me get in the shade. I don't know if you can see it on the screen, but it's showing 99% battery. It just doesn't go down. And the voltage is now at 53.9. That's probably in the neighborhood of maybe 60% battery. So this indicator just, I don't know if it just doesn't work. I don't know why it's not reading correctly. So I wouldn't trust the little battery indicator bar. I'm gonna trust the voltage. 53.9. So that's somewhere probably around 60% battery left. And I've gone 32 miles. 32 miles on this thing so far. That's looking pretty darn good for a pretty long range. And it's mostly been just full throttle, high speed riding. All right, let's see if we can't try a bit of off-roading here with this rural road bike. Kind of get the feeling like most people are just gonna take this on bike paths and maybe some gravel roads, but we'll take it a little bit off-road here and see what happens. See how she feels. And you got a little bit of squeak coming from the brake there. I mean, it got them dirty or something. Yeah, I mean, the suspension feels nice. I'm not gonna go crazy back here. I feel like it's just kind of it's just a chill ride, man. It's just, the bike is just, I don't really want to go do crazy things on it. It's just a really easygoing, comfy, chill ride. So I guess I'm gonna have that translate over here to my off-road section as well. You can see we got no problem doing this. You want to take another path? Let's see. I don't know, let's go up this way. Let's see what's up this way. I mean, it doesn't have a ton of like down low torquey power, but it's pulling me through here no problem. I get to some really steep sections, I'm sure I'll have to pedal. There's some steeper ones over here. But yeah, it'd be good for this. If you have a property like this, I'd love to have a property where I've got trails and things like this to ride on, but unfortunately we're not there yet. Someday. All right, now we get into the more challenging uphill part of it. Let's see how it does throttle only. Yeah, it's dying out. I'm gonna give it a little bit of pedal here. Times like this, I wish I could downshift maybe 1 or 2 gears. But still was able to get through there, no issue. Let's spin around and do the hard hill back up. So that's much bigger. All right, here we go. This is probably the steepest one, and it's gravelly and it's tilted to the side. Yeah, this motor needs some help for sure. I'm pushing real hard on the pedals. I wish I had another gear. I'm gonna stand up. Whoop, slipped a little on the derailleur there. Yeah, it needs another gear down low if you're gonna be doing stuff like that. Or get a run at the hill. Like I got really no run at the hill. So my conclusion, yes, it can do this stuff. It feels fine, comfort-wise. If you're gonna get into some areas like that, yeah, I feel it needs a little bit more power or a lower gear for you to help it easier. 43, I'm at 43 miles I've ridden this bike so far. And I'm at 51 volts. That's still a lot of battery life left. This is gonna be a long range test. I might just run it to like 50 or 60 miles and call it a day. Otherwise, I'll be out here all day on this thing. But it still hasn't lost any power yet. It still got great power. A little bit of a downhill, and we just hit 40 miles an hour, 40.8. 41. I mean, the motor never kicks out. It just keeps going and going. All right, folks. When I started this range test, my odometer was at 17 and it's now at 77, which means we've done 60 miles on this bike, throttle only, and it's still going. 60 miles. That's crazy. And that's, I mean, I'm not babying it either. I'm just full throttle all the time. So impressive range. I mean, I've done other dual battery range tests before, and the closest comparison was the fabulous Shadow Step. That bike had dual batteries, and it went, I think, 48 miles. And then the Bike Tricks Juggernaut had dual batteries. I think that one went 51 miles. So this has easily defeated those two bikes, and it's still going. We've gone over 60 miles at this point. I'm probably just gonna finish out the range tests right now. I mean, even though it's still going, because I think you get the picture. You can just ride this thing all day long. But I'm gonna go home. I'm hungry. I haven't eaten lunch today. I didn't think it would take this long. So there you go. There's your range test. It pulled a 180-pound man around town at full throttle only, for over 60 miles with ease. All right, we crossed over 61 miles on our way home. Still going 32 miles an hour on this thing. It's crazy. We gotta be getting low on battery. 34 miles an hour, it's still going. The voltage is at 46. That's, I mean, you gotta be pretty much tapped out. I think 45-ish is where the voltage cutoff is, so. Over 60 miles, easy. All right, let's try a little bit of nighttime riding with the Roll Road EMMA 3.0. I mean, they say this headlight is a 2,000 lumen headlight. That's pretty bright. I mean, I seem to have okay visibility here on the sidewalk. There are some lights, some street lights around me though. Let's see if I can find a darker place. It's pretty bright. I mean, I'm having no trouble seeing here off-road. There's no lights over here. Around in the street lights, you know, around town, it's perfectly fine. I just want to come out here where there's no lights. I don't think I'd want to go full speed at night in the dark with this headlight. You know, this thing goes like 36 miles an hour. I don't know if I got enough vision forward to go that fast. I'd go 20. Hopefully that ride footage gave you a little better feel for what it's like riding the EMMA 3.0. But now let's talk about a couple things I think you need to know if you're going to consider this bike. The first is the rear hub motor, 1500 watt motor. And unlike some other companies that use that 1500 watt motor with a big controller, they put like a 40 amp controller on it and they get big aggressive power. This one's not set up that way. It's got a 28 amp controller, still got decent power, but it's not super hard hitting aggressive off the line power. Still gets up to speed pretty good though. I mean, 35 plus miles per hour is achievable on this bike, but their motor's set up where it's 1500 watt and that is its peak. So it's able to handle that pretty much all day long, every day. So it should be, they went for longevity on the rear motor. So know that if you're looking for that hard-hitting, aggressive, high amp, high output power, that's not this bike. This one is designed to last you a long time. The next thing to consider is this bike is heavy. As it sits right here on my scale, it was 116 pounds. I mean, you got a big motor, you got double battery packs, a big robust frame, the rear trunk, it all adds up 116 pounds right here as you see it. So if you at all have to lift your e-bike, you better take that in consideration if you can move this around or not. This is probably one you're just gonna park in your garage. So it is heavy, but it's fast. It moves down the road quick. I mean, you can go over 30 pretty easily. And you're gonna get a whole bunch of keys with this one. Keys for the front battery, the back battery, the trunk, the NFC cards, so get yourself a good keychain. I would say this one's not set up as a really serious off-roader, right? You got single speed, bike's kind of heavy. It doesn't have a ton of just down low grunt. If you're trying to take it off-road to go hunting and you want to climb up the side of a mountain where there's no path, this probably wouldn't be my first choice. But if you want something that's just going to get you around town or you're going to commute on, absolutely. I think it's great for that. You got all the lights that you need. You got the trunk, which is great storage capacity. Seems like a good little errand running bike. The range is fantastic on this one. I think they nailed it there. You got tons of battery capacity. I rode this thing wide open, full throttle, basically no pedaling for over 60 miles. So if you pedal a little bit or you back off the throttle and you ride it around at a reasonable speed, you're probably gonna go way further than that. Now for complaints on this one, I mean, you can say it's heavy. It's a heavy bike, but that's just kind of this moped style frame. They're all heavy. I have one on the wall over there that's over 100 pounds. They are all 100 plus pounds. So I don't think this one being that heavy is out of line. That's pretty much par for the course on this style of bike. The grips weren't my favorite. They were just a basic rubber grip that as my hand warmed it up, it got kind of loose and it would spin on you. So I'd probably end up swapping out the grips. The single speed with the derailleur, I kind of feel like if you're just gonna make it a single speed, just take the derailleur off. So it's not banging around off-road. When I was doing these steeper hills and off-road stuff, I kind of felt myself wanting to downshift a little bit. So I think it'd be great if it did have some speeds on it. That would help out on the tougher terrain. But for how I'm gonna ride the bike, just around town on non-hilly pavement, it's pretty much gonna be a non-factor for me. But overall, I think it's a pretty good little setup. I mean, the thing's really easy to get off and on. It's comfortable, it's easy to drive. The power's not twitchy and scary. It shouldn't scare anyone. It's easy to carry a second passenger. You got tons of range. I mean, it's a good little bike. But let me know what you think in the comments. Did they miss the mark anywhere on this one? And if you decide this is the bike for you, definitely use my affiliate link below because it'll save you 50 bucks off. And as always, hope you found this informative, helpful, maybe at least enjoyable to watch. If you did, consider hitting subscribe. Coming back for more. Thanks for watching. Shockingly stable. I'll give it that. Right? It is. It's really surprisingly
pretty stable. Comfortable back here.
I thought it would be way more wobbly. It's not wobbly at all.
Hey guys.
What's going on, everyone? This is the Roll Road Emma 3.0.